Hello and welcome to my channel, Inviting Possibilities. My name is Rochelle, and I am here to do a reading for Earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, wherever you have that in your chart. And we all have everything in our chart, including Earth signs. So this could be for you, and that's my intention. Also, my readings are timeless. So whenever you catch this, it's the right time for you. I have chosen 3 cards from Wisdom of the Oracle, and I'll be clarifying with some other decks. And I've let the universe choose a song. And the title of your song is Turn On, Tune In, and Cop Out. This is an old favorite of mine. And it's interesting because it kind of it fits really well actually with the reading. So I'll talk about it in a minute. Let me just dive in. First, we have milk and honey in protection. And when it's in protection, it's about overindulging, feeling that sometimes kind of nameless sense of unease. Oh, you can see my kitty. She's being bad on the counter. She knows she's not supposed to be up there. That's how it goes sometimes. So anyway, doing something you're not supposed to do, ultimately overindulging. And it often happens because we're trying to cover something up that makes us feel not so great. And it can be any number of things. But what usually happens is once we overindulge, we end up feeling worse than when we started. And then we create the cycle because now we continue to to indulge in those things that ultimately bring us down, that hold us back. And it's time to choose yourself, to choose something different, to um, in the book it talks about extreme self-care. When you feel that urge to like reach for that beer after work or that glass of wine, or to immediately get on your phone, and kind of lose yourself in social media for hours, whatever it is. And there are so many things that we overindulge in. um that's not always drugs and alcohol. It can be just negative thinking sometimes. You want to do something that's going to feel good to you, that's going to you're going to wake up the next morning and be like, "Yeah, I'm so glad I did that. I'm so glad I chose something different." Take a bath, go for a walk, work out, to have a dance party in your living room, like something that's going to benefit you in some way, and that you're not going to end up feeling worse the next day or guilty, or whatever it is. And and so and so it makes me think of the title of the song, Turn On, Tune In, and Cop Out. And it's funny because I always get stuck on this term, cop out, because I'm like, well, that's weird. But I ended up looking it up because I was just like, what is the exact meaning of cop out? Which is pretty much what I thought, which is being evasive or not being willing to look at something that's in front of you, trying to avoid something. Um, and it makes me think that it 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 really speaks to what this card is saying, which is that there's something that's bothering you. There's something that's niggling at you in some way that you're not totally comfortable facing. But in order to turn on and tune in, I mean, better to say, okay, because you're turning on, you're tuning in, and then you're like, oh God, what am I feeling here? I don't like this feeling. It's bothering me. Okay, I'm going to turn off again. And instead of copping out, you want to turn on, tune in, and then sit with that feeling, sit with the memories, sit with the whatever it is, and let it let it be there. Acknowledge it, because when you do that, rather than running away, rather than trying to suppress it or cover it up, buffer it, um, you're going to tap into a deeper part of yourself that usually you don't go to that level because you're trying to cover it up. And I mean, I've spoken about this before, but this is very much my journey where I spent decades, very long time, smoking marijuana. Love the stuff. But I was using it not in a good way. And it can be used medicinally. Absolutely. It's a really amazing thing. But in my case, I was using it to tune out, to cop out, to avoid the feelings and yeah, that uncomfortable feeling inside. And so I was separating myself from myself. I wasn't following my true passion. I didn't even know what I was passionate about. I was just passionate about smoking and doing it all the time. And yeah, there were other things in there too, drinking and I was smoking tobacco too. I mean, there's all the things. So anyway, this is choosing to make a new choice, basically, to do something that feels right, that feels good, that's going to help you gain clarity. Because when you do that, we have the serendipity card, and it allows you to tap into the magic of the universe. Serendipity and synchronicity, very, very magical things that happen, that feel magical, where you're like, whoa, that was neat. This is being in the right place at the right time. And if you're overindulging, if you're drinking one too many, maybe you oversleep the next day and you miss out on meeting someone because you got yourself up early to go run your errands or go jogging, or whatever the thing is. Somehow it's holding you back, and it's time for you to show up, because serendipity, it's not just about you being affected by magical things, but it's a collaborative effort. It's you and the collective, you and the people around you, where everything lines up so perfectly. And there is a specific person, or maybe a series of people, that you are meant to meet, and you're meant to align with in some way. And so um it's basically expecting the unexpected and preparing yourself for the next big thing. And there's something really big. This is like all about leaving a legacy. This is you showing up, and it has a ripple effect on a whole lot of people. You have something really big to do, and you can't do it when you're like, you know, half conscious, and or like totally tuned out, copped out, whatever, to what you're actually feeling, what's actually going on. So then we get come to the edge, which is great because it's about taking a leap of faith. It's you're getting There's some kind of big opportunities that are being presented to you, and when they show up, it's going to feel so magical. You're going to be like, what a coincidence, I feel so lucky. I don't believe in either of those things. It is you manifesting what's actually meant for you, because you're finally choosing yourself, choosing to put yourself first and treat yourself well, care for yourself, extreme self-care, taking that bath, you know get making yourself a smoothie, like, whatever it is. um it puts you in this place where you're just like, oh, new opportunity, and being willing to not just come to the edge, but to jump. And that's the whole point, rather than being in that place of fear, which is what keeps you stuck and keeps you in that cycle of holding yourself back, suppressing all the feelings. it this is you becoming authentic to who you are, and showing up and going for it. I was just listening to a reader this morning, and I had happened to catch a reading that she did recently, and she was so into it. She was so on fire and had all this energy, and I was loving it. She's an amazing reader. And then she did another one. I was like, "Ooh, she's got the same thing." It was a divine feminine, divine masculine reading. And she started it off saying, "A bunch of people told me that I was a little bit too much, or that um yeah, something along that line." And she deleted the video. And I was like, "Oh, that is such a bummer," because that was an amazing reading. And she talked about her whole process with it, where she was like, "Now I regret deleting it, that actually there were a lot of people who did resonate, and the few that didn't, you know, it should what some people think shouldn't affect what she did, but yet it was a trigger for her." And that's what so many of us face in our life, where we have people coming in who are like, "Well, you should do this, you shouldn't do that, you're too much this, you're not enough that." And we believe it. And so try to pretzel ourselves to fit what other people think we should be. But that's based on their own misconceptions, their own filter, what they've been told the correct way to be is. They're usually holding themselves back, being too much, being not enough. And so they project that onto others. And that's one of the reasons that I don't, for the most part, I think I've deleted one video in the entire time that I've had this channel, because I'm just like, this is me. This is my journey. This is me being totally authentic to who I am. You can go and look at my first videos. They are so cringy. And there's a part of me that's like, I don't want people to see that. But it's like, you can see that I'm human. I'm a person. I have fears and issues just like everybody else. And that's why I'm here, to try and help people as I go on my journey. I learned some things, and I'm like, "Hey, maybe I can help you too. We're all in this together." And so this is you tuning into this video, tuning into hearing what other people say, realizing that it's time for you to be your most authentic self, to not censor yourself because someone thinks you should or shouldn't be you. Uh, I didn't say that right. Someone thinks you should be different than you are. Yes. Tune on, turn on, tune in, and then stay with it. Don't cop out. Stay with it and start to let be infused by your innermost authentic self. Okay. Wow. All right. 13 minutes on that. All right. Let me look at the good tarot for some clarification. Gonna try and make this a little shorter today. It's Mercury retrograde. I got a flat tire. I gotta go deal with that. Eight of air. Eight of air. This is coming out of denial. This is gaining clarity, seeing the bigger picture. You've been in denial, which is why you've been choosing to overindulge in something. It's a great way to ignore the what you're actually facing, what's actually there. And you're finally coming out of that, and you're like, oh yeah, I do need to make new choices. I do see how I've been holding myself back, holding myself down. And then we get the Queen of Air, learning to set healthy boundaries and to communicate very clearly who you are, what you're about, what you are willing and not willing to put up with. If someone comes along and starts shoulding on you, you should say this, you shouldn't say that. You're like, you know what? This is me. This is you gaining wisdom about who you are and standing very solidly and very firmly in that. And you know what? That's when all the magic starts happening. The universe rewards us for being authentic to who we are. It's when we hold ourselves back, try to be different than we are. That's when we close ourselves off to the universe. That's when we put up that energetic umbrella and the universe is like trying to send you stuff and you're like, "No, I'm keeping it away." Not even realizing that's what you're doing. Ooh, and the messenger of air. Making sure that so first of all, this can be about moving forward very quickly because now you have the understanding. Now you have the clarity and you're like as the magic happens you're like, oh my god, yes, I'm gonna totally go for it, jumping off, going to that edge real quick, and just, yeah, taking that leap of faith. But also this is about not I always, for some reason I have trouble with the words on this one. Let me look in the book. This is a learned response. Allegiance to a way of thinking or acting, opinions informed by experience. You have built up opinions. You have learned a certain way of being because you've had people telling you that you should be different than you are. And and so this happens to so many of us. And so we start acting like we think we're supposed to rather than just how we are. And this is like changing that, not being so dogmatic about shooting on yourself, even just being like, you know what? Everyone says, this is the right way to be, but that doesn't really fit who I am. If you're told all the time you're too much, you try to quiet your voice, you try to dim your light. And I have that in the description box below. Just because no, it's don't let someone dim your light just because it's shining in their eyes. This is you needing to shine very brightly and not base your decisions on your previous experiences, on any kind of dogmatic thinking. All right. Yeah, feeling some energy today. All right, let me look at the Oracle Tarot. The Oracle Tarot, we have steady process. And yeah, learning to be authentic. Woohoo! Bearing red beard. That's exactly right. That is exactly right. Yeah, when you're authentic, not everyone's going to receive you very well. And that's when you say, you know what? This is who I am, and too bad. I'm sorry you feel that way. Sorry, not sorry. And it takes time to get used to being in your own power, to standing in that place of being who you are. It's a process to even figure it out. When I finally quit my stuff, my overindulging, I didn't even really, I wasn't very tapped into who I actually was, what I generally knew what I liked, but my passion was just I'd suppressed it for so long. It takes a while for you to really get to know yourself. And then we have caring for yourself. That's right. Extreme self-care. Get yourself in the bath. Start, like drinking your, what's it called? Golden milk. You put turmeric in milk and it's like this, supposed to be this healing thing. I haven't tried it, but like do things that nourish you, that nurture you, that make you feel good in the long run, that boost your immune system, that boost your mental and emotional health. Mhm. Ooh. And the 8 of Cups, contemplation, contemplating walking away in favor of something new. Yep. Walking away from the old way of being, from the old habits and things that have held you down, held you back. Yeah. Yeah, it's time to walk away, to come to the edge, to something. It is taking a leap of faith. It is stepping into the unknown, jumping into the unknown, and we don't necessarily. like that feeling. It's uncomfortable. It makes us want to turn to things where we're like, okay, I just need to not think about this for a while. But in this case, try to stay with it. Try to stay with the discomfort and those feelings and thoughts where you're just like, what are you doing? You're like, I'm being me. What does that mean? I don't know, but I'm figuring it out. All right, I'm going to look at the Dreaming Way Tarot. 10 of Wands. Releasing your burden. You've been carrying a heavy burden for a long time. This is where your source of uneasiness and discontent is coming from. And it's, like you can keep picking up the pieces. You can keep carrying the burden. And you've come this far. Maybe you want to like get to the end, but really I think it's holding you back. It's holding you down. When you release the burden, suddenly you have all this energy. Suddenly you're like, "Oh, I'm inspired. What do I do next?" And that's when you're open to the opportunities. The magical opportunities. And 9 of Wands. Oh my goodness, yes. Yes, this is the card of the wounded warrior trying to be different than you are because that's what we're taught. Sit down, be quiet, follow the rules, you know, all the things we learn in school. And it's left you feeling tired and worn out and probably being in a fair amount of pain. Because when we're not authentic to ourselves, we're not we're not we're not showing up in the world. And it hurts. It takes more energy to be different than you are than to just be yourself. And that's why so many of us overindulge in things that, because we're just like, oh, it's too much. Staying in this job because I need the money. But God, it's like sucking the life out of me. I've heard that just way too many times. So many people just do what they think they're supposed to rather than what they want, what they love. And the 4 of Wands. Yep, this is you being in the right place at the right time, meeting the right person. Like they're coming in, it's all about celebration and harmony. And I don't know if you're single, you being authentic to yourself and totally like, this is who I am, that attracts someone in rather than trying to be what you think other people want you to be. So then you keep attracting people who, in the end, like it makes you a chaser rather than a manifester. And it's like, this is you just being like, hey, I'm here, I'm shining, and someone is going to show up. Maybe many someones. It doesn't have to be romantic. This is just the right people being drawn to you because they're like, who are you? You're really cool. Let's be friends. Let's, have a long-term committed friendship, relationship, whatever it is. That's right. Um okay. Oh man. So much time. So much time spent splaining. And Ella, right. Hello. Nice. Capricorn sun. That's very cool. Um fellow earth sign. A lot of Capricorn people in my life. Intensity. I'm doing the Osho Zen. Um, I'm not doing free readings right now. This is an reading for earth signs. You can always contact me. My email is down in the description box. So if you want a personal reading, feel free to email me. Yeah, intensity. Woo! Yeah, I'm feeling the energy here. I'm feeling especially like lit up by this. And I think this is where you come to once you start to tap into who you really are. Once you start to own it, stand in it, fall in love with who you are. And then you're like, "Oh my god, yeah, I'm going into the light." And Jojo. Nice. Cappy Rising. You've missed something pretty amazing. You got to definitely check this out. Come, what is it? Slowing down. Slowing down, we have caring for yourself, extreme self care, taking the time to figure out who you are, what that means, what you actually want, contemplating walking away from what doesn't serve you anymore, all those things that you were doing because you were told that's the right thing to do. And all this whole time you've been like, that doesn't feel good to me. Now you're like, oh, that's because it's not for me. And playfulness. And we got the same colors here. So much happiness and joy, excitement, just being in the moment. When you're yourself, all the energy lifts. You release your burden. And now you can just play and have fun. And it it's so easy to be yourself. It's it better to say it doesn't take as much energy to yourself as it does to try to be not yourself. Umar the first, hello. Sagittarius sun and Aries moon and rising. That is a lot of fire. But you have some earth in your chart somewhere. And really this is the type of thing for any this is the type of reading for everyone, because I put that it's for earth signs, and that's the general intention. But really, the message here is to be authentically yourself wherever you've been holding yourself back, believing you should be different than you are. This is a message for everyone. You will feel so much better when you do that. Get into that playful place, and all the magic, everything lines up so perfectly. Meeting the right people, and it's you leaving some kind of long lasting legacy, because you're choosing to come to the edge and jump into the unknown, which is truly authentic to who you are. Okay. Let me look at some. It's going so fast. Okay. I'm gonna finish off with some angelic messenger cards. Fulfillment. This card came up for you last time. Yeah, when you're being authentic to yourself, you finally can get to that place of fulfillment. When you stop overindulging and start to listen to what truly feels good. What's the kind of the long lasting um um what is it? Can't think of the word right now. Anyway, fulfillment. Bam. And willingness to be yourself. Willingness to go within, willingness to release the things that keep you distracted from finding out who you are. It is a process, a steady process. There is some slowing down required. Taking those long baths does help to give you that space and time to just like let things percolate. And sustenance. Oh, what a fun word. Sustenance. Um yeah. What can sustain you? Your overindulging behaviors, your things, your vices, they are not sustainable. They hold you back, they keep you down. What will sustain you in the long run? Yeah. What is going to sustain you for you to be in this playful place? Yes, yes, yes. Okay. I think I should just finish there. I gotta go. I usually finish with a rune card, but I just simply don't have the time. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you being here. If you only caught part of this reading, I recommend watching it again. It's the energy in this is so high and so intense and so awesome. And it's like it's a very empowering message to anybody. Doesn't matter your major astrological placements. So anyway, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much, Jojo. And yeah, peace out, Redbeard. And I will see you guys on the next video. Mwah. And if you haven't already, like, subscribe, and share.